Welcome to a new daily top AskReddit video. Today's topic.
What TV trope was common in the not-so-distant past but is completely unacceptable today? Very special episodes, where characters meet life-altering situations, drug addictions, teen pregnancy, gun violence, and then are back to being carefree the next episode. The most egregious example of this I've seen was on 21 Jump Street when Johnny Depp shoots a judge and kills him, and the next episode it's like it never happened. A rookie cop kills a judge and no one cares. It's kinda the flaw with episodic TV. Some episodes can be really serious or have traumatic experiences, but there is no continuation. Some episodes are like this in Star Trek TNG. Thinking in particular of when Troy got sexually assaulted. Never mentioned again. X-Files kinda changed the game with its mix of episodic, Monster of the Week, episodes and its canon ongoing storyline Alien episodes. Edit. Thought of another. In ER, Anthony Edwards' character becomes inexplicably super racist one episode. Completely against his normal characterization as a caring and compassionate guy. Then he apologized for it to his black colleagues at the end of the episode. All is forgiven. It's never mentioned again and he goes back to his normal character the rest of the series. These episodes were funded by the government and produced basically free. The idea was to make a public service message that people would see in an example in the story. It's also why there were so many lines in TV shows like, "Man, I really gotta quit smoking." Single quote. I have doubts that a clip show episode would do well these days. These used to be made to pad out your episodes without a big budget cost. But shows are increasingly getting written and budgeted around how many episodes the story needs. And not how many they need to fill every time slot that season. Clip shows also worked because people didn't necessarily watch every episode of a show back then. A lot of shows took some time to find an audience, so when the clip show played, there was a good chance you were seeing some clips you were unfamiliar with. In the age of streaming, that's not really the case anymore. If you start watching a show that's now in its 4th season, you're going to start from episode 1 on streaming. I tend to use The Simpsons as an example. Today many early episodes are iconic, but back in the 90s you either caught older episodes in reruns during the off-season, which could be highly variable, or you had them on VHS. I remember in college one year one of my housemates had recorded like 8 tapes worth of episodes, and it was amazing to have. But there were a ton of missing episodes. It wasn't until the early 2000s when I had a TiVo mostly dedicated to The Simpsons that I happened to see some older episodes I had no recollection of. It took them until 2001 to start releasing DVD sets, and that was about one season per year at first. And that's The Simpsons. I remember being so excited when my TiVo started recording the A-Team because you just couldn't find some shows, even if they were highly memorable. We sort of take for granted that iconic TV shows are entirely available now with just a click or two. It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia pulled a clip show off perfectly. They all sit around to reminisce, except they all remember it differently, so it's remakes of the original scene with different actions. Then it's not really a clip show, it's a parody of a clip show. Like that one Community episode that's a clip show, except it's all things that never actually happened before on the show. So it ended up costing more than the average episode. Game show hosts kissing female contestants on the lips. Did anyone do this other than Richard Dawson? Edit. I've watched a fair amount of The Price is Right and Match Game over the years. And while there was cheek kissing, pocket fishing, and lewd remarks, I don't recall any kissing on the lips except on Family Feud, at least not routinely. Bob Barker used to make female contestants reach into the $100 pocket of his suit jacket if they guessed the price exactly right. If it was a guy, he would just hand him the $100 bill. Jokes about spousal abuse. One of these days, Alice. I was told I was too sensitive when I, as a kid in the 80s, asked why it was funny that he was going to hit his wife. It's a movie. But my wife and I recently sat down and watched The Philadelphia Story. https en.wikipedia.org/wiki/the_Philadelphia_story_ film. The fact that the protagonist used to beat his wife is played for laughs. Katharine Hepburn's character's little sister is constantly saying stuff like, "I want to stay and see if he socks her one." Quote, as an unfortunate mistake that was a byproduct of alcoholism and something that Cary Grant's character has grown from. Also somewhat Katharine Hepburn's fault, as she drove him to it, and she apologizes towards the end. Good Lord, none of this would fly in the modern day. Don't forget, her own father condemned her and said that he left Hepburn's character's Tracy, mother, because of Hepburn's character. If only Tracy had been more loving, then Daddy would have stayed. This is a fun byproduct of the Hays Code. There was a silent film series about a female doctor who ran her own practice and wasn't married. IIRC, which was a first and reflected women in the workplace at the time. Once the Hays Code was enacted, they made the actress come back for another movie where her character gave everything up to get married because women being independent and unmarried is bad. And gives them ideas. It's a depressing rabbit hole since a lot of people don't know how progressive pre-code films could be. Or just straight up slapping women on screen. The amount of old movies and TV shows where a woman speaks up about something and gets backhanded is absolutely insane. If you see a woman get beat up in anything now, it's normally a storyline of domestic violence to highlight that it's wrong or to show a bad character, but in old movies it's the hero of the story slapping his girlfriend around like nothing.